Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to a brand new mod spotlight in version 1.3.2 of Minecraft. Hooray, it's finally time for mods. And I'm starting off with a new mod that I've never used before. It's pretty awesome. I've been messing around with it a little bit before doing the spotlight as always, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's still in a bit of a beta stage. There's some more work to be done on it, but in its current setup, it's working pretty well, and it adds a lot of really new and fun things to do in Minecraft. It's time to spotlight the ICBM mod, or Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. That's right, this mod is all about explosions and blowing stuff up. It's actually pretty fun, and I can see a lot of fun being had on a Minecraft server using this mod. Specifically, by the way, in combination with Mistcraft. I've already been talking to the guys on Pahicraft, and I'm thinking about having a Mistcraft age dedicated to playing around with this mod. But enough about that, let's start checking out what the mod adds and what it does. So without further ado, let's start checking out the ICBM mod. Alright, the first thing I want to show you guys that this mod adds is, of course, some of the explosive devices you can create and craft with the ICBM mod. So, before we get into the missiles, let's talk about the explosives that will be going on those missiles. And those are all listed right here in NEI. You can see there's a bunch of different options. There's condensed, shrapnel, and incendiary explosives, and chemical explosives. These green guys here are your Tier 1 explosives. Tier 2 explosives are over here. Fragmentation, contagious, sonic, and breaching. Those guys are pretty cool. Pretty much all of them are awesome. And then there's some Tier 3 explosives over here, like nuclear, EMP, conflagration, and endothermic. Oh boy. Now, Tier 4 explosives down here, antimatter and red matter, are actually not available to be crafted, but they do work. I'm going to go ahead and show you that there's recipes for most of these cool little explosives that you can check out. However, if we check out the antimatter and the red matter, you can see there's no recipes for them. That's because there's no way to get them without cheating them in. It's something that I think the mod author plans to add eventually, but just hasn't balanced quite yet. So everybody likes explosives, so let's just start checking out some of these cool different things we can check out. I'm just going to hand myself just a few of the first of the Tier 1 explosives. So the first explosive device I'm going to show you here is called the condensed explosive. Now this guy is actually pretty much just like TNT, though in fact a little bit weaker. The cool thing about it, however, though, is that it pretty much blows up immediately instead of having a fuse. So it's pretty much a very short fuse version of TNT. Boom. As soon as it received a redstone signal, it blew up. It's a great way to set up a landmine, and actually a neat way to do this if you really wanted to be sneaky about it would be to use the following. Let's check this out. If I were to get myself another one of these condensed explosives right here and hit up the following. Check out this guy. It's called a glass pressure plate. 2 pieces of glass pressure plate. Not seen this used before in any other mods. It's actually a pretty neat idea, but just place it on the ground there and it's really pretty much a completely see-through block. If you mouse over it, you can see the bounding box for it, but otherwise you can't tell there's a pressure plate there. And if you were to walk right over it, kaboom! Great. Haha, nice little landmine. See, there's no fuse on it, so it blows up the moment somebody walks over it. Pretty cool. Next up, we've got the shrapnel explosive. This guy is pretty neat. I'm going to back away. What he does is shoot some flaming arrows as soon as he explodes all over the place. Whoa, how's it going, flaming arrows? Pretty nasty. Painful stuff, so you want to be careful with that one. Next up, we've got some incendiary explosives. These guys are really pretty neat. Let's head over to some forest, because I think we should be detonating off the incendiary explosive in a forested area. What do you think, guys? Definitely a good plan. Now, the recipe for this guy actually requires some sulfur, which is part of this mod. You can see that you can smelt sulfur in a furnace, and the sulfur that you get is added to the world generation when you install this mod. So it's pretty cool. So let's head over to the forest right over here in this swamp area and check out what the incendiary explosive does. Boom. Dun 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 dun. Incendiary explosives, go. Hey there. Haha. Pretty cool. I better jump in some water. Yeah, so incendiary explosives, definitely a lot of flame involved in that guy. Oh my. Next up, you can see I've got some milk in my inventory because I'm about to show you guys chemical explosives. Dun dun dun. This guy is cool. He actually doesn't cause a giant explosion, but instead he's going to just release some nasty chemical stuff. And you can see that I get this nasty hunger and weakness and poison and nausea. So whenever I'm under the effects of this poison, it's very trippy. I got myself some milk, though, to make sure everything's better. Oh, So much better. Thank you, Milk. Alright, Direwolf, I've seen your Tier 1 explosives. They look cool, but show me some big booms. You got it, guys. Anything for you. Let's check out the contagious explosives. Oh my, these guys are chemical explosives, 4 of them with 1 rotten flesh. This stuff sounds pretty nasty. I'm a little bit afraid of what it might do. Let's check it out. First, I'm going to place a couple pigs nearby, and then go ahead and launch off this contagious explosive. Dun dun dun. Oh my. Oh boy, I'm blind. That doesn't look good. That looks scary. Very nasty. And the thing is, when I walk near enemies, they can catch the contagion as well. And it looks like zombie pigmen come out of zombies. And oh no, he gave me the contagion back. That's not good. Hooray! I'm sort of alive. No! So basically what the contagious explosive does is infects whatever entities get affected by it, including any enemy players, friendly players, and entities like, animals and monsters and stuff. Pretty awesome contagious explosives. Let's check out sonic explosives, just because these guys are cool. Sonic explosives do the following. They're crafted by using some bronze plates and some note blocks and some TNT. Bronze plates, by the way, are 4 pieces of bronze. Awesome. Let's plant them down again and check it out. Oh boy, this is going to be crazy. I've played with these guys before. They're definitely one of my favorite explosives. Kaboom! What's up? Whoa! I better turn creative mode on. Yep, I was a little too close to that sonic explosive, and you can see it basically turns all the blocks nearby into entities and then throws them up into the air, and then they come falling down. This is just the world loading around me. Yeah, so that's what the sonic explosive did. Pretty crazy. So let's fly away from that sonic explosion and check out maybe, I don't know, how about some Tier 3 explosives? What do you say, guys? I think that's a good plan. So for my next trick, I'm going to show you guys the conflagration and endothermic explosives. And don't worry, we'll get to the nuclear ones, I promise. Boom. The conflagration explosives, and I'm leaving myself in creative mode for just a moment here, are pretty cool. They're all about a giant explosion of lava. And you can see the recipe for this guy is a bunch of incendiary explosives, 8 of them required for 1 conflagration explosive. Let's check out what this thing does from a distance. I think it pulls down the power of sunlight. Whoa. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. Get ready. Oh boy. Yeah. Lots of lava, lots of fire. Scary, dangerous stuff. Even turns some areas of the world into netherrack. Oh boy. Ha! Conflagration explosives? Yeah, you guys definitely earned your name. Now, the endothermic explosive, which is kind of the opposite, I think I'm going to make you guys download this mod and check it out yourself. But rest assured, it's very cool and has a lot to do with freezing things. Oh yeah, it's awesome. Let's move on now to missiles, because this is the ICBM mod after all. Let's check out some of the missiles that we can start playing with in the ICBM mod. Now, in order to understand missile launchers, there's actually 3 items you need. A launcher platform, crafted like so, and a launcher control panel. And I'll show you guys how to make these copper wires and basic circuits in just a moment here. And the launcher support frame. Let's place them down. First, place down your launcher. Now this is the Tier 1 launch platform. There's actually 3 tiers, Tier 1, 2, and 3, and I'll show you the differences in just a moment. The launcher platform is where your missile goes. So all you need to do is pick a missile, and you can see there's a bunch of missiles listed here in NEI. And basically all the missiles are a combination of a missile module and the explosive that you want to put on it. And missile modules are crafted like so. So all you have to do is make yourself a missile, make yourself one of the explosives that you want to have, and you just combine the two to get the missile of that type. Pretty awesome. So let's just go with a conventional missile right now. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. I'm going to give myself one of those and place it in the platform. Ta-da! Conventional missile ready to launch. However, before we can launch it, we need to attach a launcher control panel. That guy goes right in the front. Cool. And we can open up the interface here, and you can pretty much give it a missile target with the X and Z coordinate of where you want to shoot. But you'll notice that down here, one of the first lines it's telling you is it currently has an inaccuracy of 30 blocks. That's because this thing's a little unstable, unless of course you attach the launcher support frame. Just place that guy right in the back here, and then that should help the stability. Now its inaccuracy is only 15 blocks. Awesome. Now, like I said, there's Tier 2 versions of these guys, so I can go ahead and place down the Mark II version of the launcher platform. Awesome. And from what I understand, this guy has a little bit more range. Let's place an incendiary missile on him. Cool. Oh yeah, look at that guy. And we can go ahead and place down our Mark II launcher control panel. Now this guy has an extra option, air detonation, and the height at which you want to detonate from the air. You can also place down a Mark II launcher stabilizer back there, this little guy, launcher support frame, and now the inaccuracy is only 7 blocks. Cool. And finally, we've got a third tier version of these guys. This is Tier 3. We've got our launcher platform here. Let's grab, I don't know, a nuclear missile. Yeah, I know you guys want to see nuclear. And the Mark III version of the control panel gives us a frequency option, which I'll get into in just a moment what that means. And if you use a Mark III stabilizer on the back, then you'll have a 0 inaccuracy. And you can combine the Mark III stabilizer back here, for example. So this guy's still got a 15 block inefficiency, no problem. Just place your Mark III stabilizer on the back of a Mark I launcher control panel, and you won't have any inaccuracy. So you can mix and match these guys as you will. The launcher pretty much dictates the range that you're allowed. The control panel dictates the different options you're allowed to use, and the stabilizer on the back is how far you can reduce the inaccuracy, all the way down to 0 blocks. Awesome. Now you might be noticing it's saying that there's insufficient electricity to power this. Well, what kind of electricity is available in the ICBM mod? Pretty much there is none. Nope, ICBM does not add electricity. It actually uses the Universal Electricity API, which I'll talk about briefly right now. Now, Calclavia, the original author of the ICBM mod, is also the author of the Universal Electricity API. Now, most of you guys may or may not know, but an API is pretty much a framework for code. Forge, for example, is an API, and it basically allows you to create mods using the API, and it makes it a little bit easier. The Universal Electricity API was built by Calclavia to pretty much set it up so that a lot of people could create a bunch of electricity-based mods without all writing their own electricity subnets. So Industrial Craft has all this code built in to work with electricity, and this Universal Electricity mod is just another option, and you can use the API to make your own mods that all use electricity. And I'm going to show you some of the basic things that come with the Universal Electricity mod, which you do need to have installed in order to use ICBM. But don't worry, it just goes in your mods folder, and it's nice and easy. I'm going to place down a coal generator, and you'll notice that the coal generator has this nice little hole in the back. Alright, we can run some copper cabling out the back, copper wire. Dun dun dun. And I'll run this guy directly into what's called a battery box. Simple and straightforward. And anybody who's watched my videos before should not find this too complicated. Pretty much easy to follow. And then we'll place down some more copper wiring, just like this. I'm going to run the copper wiring directly into the launcher control panel, but I'm going to leave 1 or 2 spaces separate. And I'm going to grab some coal and just throw it into my coal generator. And the coal generator can start generating power as soon as it heats up. Cool. We might need to turn this guy around. There we go. Now it's heating up. It'll only turn on when it has somewhere to put the power, and you have to hook it up into the right side of the battery box. So pretty much very similar to some of the other mods you've used in the past that can use electricity. You have ways to generate electricity and transmit it using wires and store it using some form of battery box. Pretty straightforward and not too hard to follow. Now there's a bunch of add-ons and other things you can play with the Universal Electricity API, and I'll probably spotlight some other mods in the near future to show you guys what that's all about. But for now, just know that this is a basic way to generate electricity. There's a bunch of other mods that add other ways to generate, store, and use electricity. You can find them over on the Forge forums, and I'll link the Universal Electricity subforum over at the Forge forums in the video description here. Now you can see my coal generator generating electricity and storing it in the battery box. Cool. Now as our coal generator heats up, we can start storing energy in our battery box, and it's creating more and more electricity over time, and pretty awesome. Let's go ahead and hook up our copper wire over here to this guy. you can see it's starting to build up an electricity store. Awesome. So we've already got 30 kiloamp hours, and we need 450. I assume that's what KAH means. I don't know. I'm not an electrician. So let's give it a few minutes here to store up all the electricity we need, and I'll probably set up some more coal generators. I'll be back in a few. Alright guys, now we're ready to go. I've actually decided to, instead of use an explosive missile, use incendiary because they're not too bad in terms of destroying the environment. So I'm going to go ahead, I've got a whole bunch of a coal array here, and my launcher control panel tells me it's ready to launch because I've given it a coordinate, x of 68 and z of negative 100, which is pretty much straight off in that direction. And all you have to do is apply a redstone signal to the launcher control panel here, and boom. Away it goes. And the missile's going to head straight to the coordinates I gave it, and then, upon impact, kaboom. Nice big explosion. Awesome. So now let's check out the Tier 2 launcher. I've already hooked up some power to it, so you can see it's got the power it needs. And I'm going to give it, right now, the x-coordinate that we're at is 74. Let's go ahead and choose negative 100 again for the z-coordinate. And this time I'm going to tell it a height with which to detonate at. Right now, our head's at 70. And our eyes are at 72, actually. So let's go with, I don't know, 75. That sounds like a good height. Let's give this guy a try. What do you say? Launch. And he should explode while he's still up in the air before he hits the ground. Oh, maybe he exploded way up there. Cool. I haven't played around with the height level too much, so maybe the height is higher than I thought. Now you might be saying to yourself, Direwolf, I don't want to trek out to the spot and find out the x and y and z coordinates of where I want to shoot this missile. I want to figure that out from a distance. Well, don't worry, we've got the radar gun. Pretty cool little device. All you gotta do is charge it up in a bat box to give it some power. So you can see right here, currently, it just needs to be charged. Alright, fully charged, 100%. Awesome. And just right click on a block and it'll tell you the coordinates of where you're aiming at. So cool, isn't it? Very cool. In fact, let's go over here and figure out where we're looking. X91, X90. Okay, cool. So we're at 90 by negative 122. So we just open up this interface. I'm going to take the nuclear out for just a moment and go ahead with a conventional. That sounds good. Now remember, our coordinates were 87 by negative 118. Sure. 87 by negative 118. Awesome. Let's get some electricity over here, and then we'll launch this guy. Alright, he's charging up his electricity, courtesy of the bat box all the way over there. And we're almost ready to launch. And then I'll show you guys what frequency is all about. Beautiful. Should hit right over there, right on the tree. Perfect. Now, let's check out what this frequency setting is about. I'm right now going to set this frequency to about frequency 5. Doesn't really matter. Just remember frequency 5. I'm going to put the nuclear missile back in there. And then I'm going to get myself what's called a laser designator. Oh, this guy is cool. Okay. Need a remote detonator and a radar gun and an elite circuit, which is another part of that universal electricity mod. Laser detonator. Let's go over here and just find some trees. I'm going to just right-click right over there. Oh, telling me laser detonator frequency, not set. That's okay. All we got to do to resolve that is come over here and right-click on the launch pad. Remember, I set the frequency of this launch pad to frequency 5. And when I right-click on it with this guy, you can see the laser designator frequency is set to 5. Awesome. Now, let's call in an airstrike by right-clicking, and wherever I have my mouse cursor hair over is where that missile is going to be launched to. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Calling in an airstrike! And that was the nuclear missile, by the way. Hope you guys are ready for some serious detonation power. Oh boy. Yeah. Alright, so nuclear bombs are pretty powerful, in case you couldn't tell. Ooh, looks like we found a little ravine over here. That's cool. Yeah, and they also leave this nasty stuff on the ground. Or if I take myself out of creative mode, you'll see that I've got hunger and poison. Cool. So you've got some radioactive junk on the ground there. Not too cool. But the nuclear explosions, definitely pretty powerful. And calling in an airstrike from a distance, you can't argue with that. I mean, come on, that's awesome. Alright, so I've shown you guys a bunch of offensive weapons. Let's show you some defensive ones. What do you say? Let's check out two very cool devices. The first one is called the radar tower, and it's going to need some power to run. And all it's going to do is check out nearby, and you can see the coordinates by mousing over it. So you can see this thing has a pretty decent range. Right here is where we're standing, and it can go out pretty far in every direction. And the radar tower has a bunch of different options. So the radar station can detect incoming missiles, and it can also detect players in a certain radius. I think its radius right now is 500 blocks. That sounds about right. So it's got a pretty big range. It's got an alarm range of 100 blocks and a safe zone of 20. And what this means is that the radar station will emit an alarm sound, and it'll also emit a redstone signal if any missiles come within 100 blocks of this thing, and the target of that missile is within 20 blocks. So let's go over here and launch a missile pretty much in that general direction. You can hear this alarm sound going off, and you can see this little red dot here. Kaboom! And this guy was emitting a redstone signal. Maybe I'll even get a little bit of redstone just to demonstrate that it does in fact emit a redstone signal whenever there's a missile nearby. Let's try this again. Notice that the redstone signal is on, and again we can see this nice little red dot here. Cool. So what can we do to protect against incoming missiles? Well, I'm glad you asked, because we have, dun dun dun, the EMP station. Dun dun. This thing, you can set the radius of the EMP tower and what it affects, whether it affects missiles or electricity or both. Now, if you're disrupting missiles, it'll basically detonate them in midair, preventing them from exploding. And if you tell it to deplete electricity, it could affect battery boxes and other machines that require electricity. And if you tell it to do both, it'll do both. You can also affect the EMP radius by just changing it right here. Cool. And when you change the radius, it changes the amount of energy required to detonate. I believe the smallest radius is 10, but let's go with, I don't know, 25. That sounds like a good number. And we'll wait for this EMP tower to charge up fully, and we'll come back and show you how it works. Alright, looks like our EMP tower here is already close to getting filled up. It's almost there. Come on, just a little bit more energy. There we go, ready to blast. Oh yeah, it's spinning like crazy. Now it's got a power to emit an EMP pulse within 25 blocks whenever it receives a redstone signal. What can detect missiles and emit a redstone signal? That's right, the radar station. But that's okay, instead I'm just going to manually detonate this thing once I launch my missile, just to show you guys its effect. Because if I let the radar station do it, I don't know, it'll be a little less cool. I get to do it manually. Here we go, launch the missile. Boom. Oh no, missile incoming, quick! Hit the lever! Oh, I think the missile was still a little too far away. But you can see it did shut down the electrics of the radar station. There's no electricity here. And it probably fried some of the electronics over here. Oh yeah, our battery box is completely empty. Probably messed up a few of these coal generators as well. See how they're currently disabled? Don't worry, they'll quickly turn back on and start generating electricity again. So that's what the EMP tower does. It'll short out any missiles coming in and shut down any electronics based on its current settings. Pretty awesome. And don't worry, it would have shot down that missile if I had probably needed to bump the radius up a little bit. Let's bump it up to, I don't know, 50 blocks. Yeah, it's going to need some more power, so I'll be back once it's fully charged. Alright, looks like we're pretty much there, guys. Let's try this again. Launch the missile. Oh, it's way up high. Oh, I don't think we heard an explosion. And if we come down here, you'll see the missile is laying on the ground. So the EMP did its job. It disrupted the missile, prevented it from exploding, and even dropped it on the ground for us so we could pick it up. How cool is that? Alright guys, so I think that's pretty much a good wrapping up point for the ICBM mod spotlight. There's actually quite a few things I didn't get a chance to show you. Specifically, there's railguns and cruise missile launchers. I didn't get a chance to show you those, but I definitely recommend you download and check it out. There's also the proximity detector, which is really cool. This guy can detect any enemy players or other guys nearby, and there's a bunch of settings you can do. And you can also set up some frequencies and all kinds of cool stuff. So the proximity detector is another cool block you're going to want to check check out. There's just a handful of things I didn't show you. Also got some grenades in there. But again, I'm going to leave this up to you guys. I think you should download the mod and play with it yourself. But I think you want to see a really, really big explosion right before we wrap up. And for that, I'm going to give you the antimatter explosive. Once again, there's no recipe for this guy, so you can't check out a recipe for it. So you can only give it to yourself if you cheat it in using NEI or if you're a server admin. But the antimatter explosives, like the red matter explosives, are the tier 4 version of explosions. And they are serious business. I'm not even going to lie. You ready to check this out? Yeah, it sets off an alarm because this is going to be big. Better back up. Kaboom. Now I'm going to let the world load around me and I'll be back. So we've still got some exploding going on. I'm going to pause the game here and hopefully that'll help things load up a little bit. Yep. Still some loading, still some explosions. Like I said, I'll be back once the game stops lagging. And I think the explosion is finally done. So that, my friends, is an antimatter explosion. Straight down to bedrock. Yeah. That is some serious business. So I hope you enjoyed checking out the ICBM mod spotlight. It's really cool, adds a lot of neat functionality, and like I said, I could imagine a lot of fun having a Mystcraft age dedicated to some missile warfare, where you set up some defense stations and some missiles and start shooting them at each other. I think that would be a lot of fun. So check out the ICBM mod by Calclavia, and look forward to some future mod spotlights where I want to check out some of the things from the Universal Electricity mod. There's also a mod dedicated to setting up some protective defenses around the missile launcher mod here, the ICBM mod. You're going to want to check that out and look forward for a mod spotlight in that coming up pretty soon. So this is Direwolf20 signing off on the ICBM mod spotlight. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and take it easy.